Hello, hello. Who's in here? Hi, Ezra. How are you doing? Hey, Angela. Taking a quick study break. I'm eating some pistachios. What do you mean didn't expect so early, Angela? I'm in New Mexico, Ezra. Am I saying your name right? Ezra? Ezra? No, it's not snowing here, Angela. It snowed, I think, like last week. Awesome, Ezra. It snowed last week. We actually had a snow day the first day when I got back from Nero. So they canceled, but we had to make it up. So it was nice because we got an extra day on vacation, but bad because we had to make it up anyways, and it kind of cut into our study time. It has been pretty cloudy here though, Angela. So what's going on? What do you guys want to know? I'm currently studying Nero. I don't know if I can show you guys my whiteboard over there. I put it up this break and it's been really helpful. What's up, Lovda? Do you have another name, Lovda, you want me to call you? All right, Angela. Thanks for saying hi. Here to answer questions, guys. I'm only gonna be on until about 8:30. Then I'll end the live stream. Last time I was on here for like an hour, and that was way too long. I think 30 minutes is pretty good. Oh, I thought you were leaving, Angela. No. So it was the first day of Nero, so we had the pre-work for that day, and they gave us more pre-work for the next day, of course. But it wasn't too bad. Pre-work is pretty easy. It just kind of piled on because we had lab days. Our first 3 days of Nero were basically in lab, so we had to do lab that morning and then had to make up that days in the afternoon. So it was just a really long day. And in the cadaver lab, and it's really hard to stay focused in there for so long. I'm at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine, Ezra, and there's not a lot of difference between MDs and and I'm pretty sure you mean like a DO. DOs, I've heard you a lot of like manipulative maneuvers with their hands, which I think is really awesome. And people say that it's not as competitive to get into DO schools. And I'm not sure. I never applied to a DO school, so I can't really give you much information on being a DO doctor. I just got into an MD program my second time application. I was going to apply to a DO program if I didn't get in this year or last year, but I got in, so I didn't research on what it meant to be like a DO versus an MD. My class is about a little over 100 med students. Yeah, it's about 115, 112, something like that. Sorry if you guys can hear me chew, I'm hungry. I just dropped water all over myself. Nice. Yes, Mohammed. So I am currently working on a research project. It's required for med students at my school to do a research project within the 4 years. So we have a lot of time to do a research project. I mean, a lot of med students do more than one project. I'm working kind of on a slightly longer term one. I'll share more details about it later in the future. But yeah, we are required to do a research and do like a poster presentation, go to a conference, or present there at our school, like to our health science peers and professors and just whoever wants to come, really. What's up, Duro? Glad to see you made it. Just eating some pistachios, spilling water all over myself. Sorry, I just took a shower. And as you guys can see, I've been really stressed out. I don't break out like with acne unless I'm stressed out. And I am pretty I'm breaking out a lot lately. I don't know if Canadian med students have to do step 1 Duro. I don't know how their system works. All right, so how hard is med school so far? What do you wish you knew before starting med school? Med school is pretty freaking hard. The last year it wasn't as bad. So we did FMS, so it was basically my 4 years of prereq sciences condensed into 11 weeks. That went fine. And then we started with, what was the second block after that? Musculoskeletal connective tissue. It was difficult kind of adjusting to organs system approach to med school. But it was really awesome being in the cadaver lab and actually seeing things that nobody's ever seen. Like we literally saw blood vessels. Like we have a cadaver lab. I think that's an awesome experience in med school. You actually get to see the veins, arteries, blood vessels, nerves. That was really cool. So now when I see people like limping out in the open, if their arm is hurt, like I know what muscles are injured, what nerves are injured, it's crazy how your mind starts kind of shifting and changing to seeing these things. What do I wish I knew before med school? That's a good question. I haven't thought about it much. I think just make friends. But the friends you make, you have to make sure that you're gonna study when you hang out with them. You really do have to study all the time, guys. It's pretty like Angela. Oh, kind of leans into your question, Angela. It's not really exaggerated. So it might seem like med students have a lot of free time, but we should really be studying all the time. Like if I have free time, I start getting like anxiety from not studying. It really is that bad. But you do have to take free time. You have to remove yourself from the books. Like this YouTube thing has really helped me kind of remove myself from the books. Kind of interact with you guys, and you guys support me so much. It's awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's sort of exaggerated, Angela, but not really. Like you really should be studying most of your time. Hi, Mariah. You're 14, want to be a dermatologist. Ooh, derm is a really competitive specialty. I would highly suggest you At 14, it's hard probably to get like into a doctor's office to shadow, but definitely go and shadow a doctor. You probably might not be able to get into with a dermatologist, but just like a family care physician in your local area, um, and see if you like interacting with people and a lot of documentations. A lot of things people don't know. You have to document everything. There's so much documentation. It's crazy. Oh, Mohammed, it's a lot of studying. Right now, neuro is conceptually hard. It is. But like the other blocks, it wasn't that it's conceptually hard. It's more that it's so much information in such little time, and it's go 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 all the time. You get tested every single week, and it's just a lot of volume, Mohammed. But right now, like neuro, for me, neuro is kind of conceptually difficult. So it's both. So it's kind of sucking right now. Oh, Duro. So you guys know, like I kind of grew up on the farm. So we did like a lot of like meat cutting and stuff ourselves. And it was kind of weird because it was a human being, and it wasn't scary. It was humbling, and you just feel such a privilege to be able to do that. Like somebody gave their body so that I could learn how to study and learn how to be a doctor. That is such a humbling, amazing experience. I can't even explain to you guys how grateful I am to the donor and of course to the family. That it's an awesome experience, Duro. It's awesome. I don't think you should study for med school right now, Mariah. I think you should focus on getting through high school, doing well in your courses, taking some AP courses if you can, getting some college credits if you can. If you can't, it's okay. I didn't. If you're going to a public school, I went to a public school, so I didn't have a lot of resources. Um, Focus on getting good grades and getting good study habits, so that when you start your pre-med undergraduate years, you're ready to go. And you do really well in your prereq courses so that you can get into med school later on. Loveda, do you know what you want to match into yet? I don't know. I really, really like peds critical care, guys. This is the first time I'm telling anybody. I like peds critical care. I think I want to work in a PICU. I want to take care of really sick kiddos, and hopefully I help them make it. And if I can't, I want to be there with the families in those really difficult times. I'm really looking at peds critical care currently. Yeah, I would love to do peds critical care currently, Loveda. But I'm a first year, so once I go through rotation and clerkships, that could shift so fast. What did you major in, Matt? So I majored in biology with a minor in chemistry, and then I double majored in Spanish, Matt. If I could redo it all, I would not major in biology. I would major in like computer science, probably just computer science, just something else, not biology. You get so much biology in med school. I don't think it's necessary. If you really like biology, then by all means go ahead and do it. But I wish now that I hadn't been a biology major. Kind of kind of like that a question to you, Loveda. Like I wish I wasn't a bio major. I wish I would have done something else, something interesting, but also that I could incorporate in the future as a physician, you know? I wouldn't really worry about that too much, Mohammed, doing that before med school. You get so much during med school that um, I probably wouldn't. Like I took medical Spanish just to kind of know the terms in Spanish, because I'm a native Spanish speaker, but I kind of wanted to know the medical terms in Spanish so that I could provide better care once I did learn medicine, really. So it was helpful in that sense, but I wasn't focused on learning every single disease or body system before med school. Oh, Angela, that's a good question. I kind of wanted to make a video on that. Um, Immunology, pharmacology, guys. If you guys can take one class in undergrad, take pharmacology. It will That's the number one class I recommend you guys take, pharmacology. Hands down, it was the most useful. I didn't want to take it. My girlfriend made me because she wanted to be a pharmacist, and I actually really ended up liking it. And it's helped me so much in med school. Pharmacology, just like a general pharm course. That's been amazing. That is incredible, Duro. I shouted a Pete surgeon a while ago. Um, they do crazy work. It's really cool. And then neonatal surgery. I've never shouted a neonatal surgeon, but that sounds hardcore. That's next level stuff. I don't know if I would want to do that. Maybe Pete surgeon, but neonatal is intense. Ezra, the interview matters so much. Oh my gosh. So it's like GPA and MCAT are over here, and then your experiences, extracurriculars, and interview are over here. It's like 50-50. It's super important to interview. Um, it's 50-50. I didn't have a really great MCAT score. I didn't have a really great GPA, but my extracurricular experiences and my interview, I killed it. So here I am in med school. Um, but that's my personal experience. If you can get good grades and a great MCAT, that is definitely the best thing to do because they won't doubt your ability to handle the medical school curriculum, which is why I didn't get in the first year. We're interviewing is nerve-wracking, Ezra. It'll be nerve-wracking for anybody, even if they speak English. Um, just practice. If you can get like a mock interview, if your local college does like mock interview for pre-med, sign up for one of those and get feedback. And that really helped me. I did a mock interview my second time and it really helped me out. Ooh, love to. That's a good question. I solo study a lot. Um, I solo study a lot, but I have found out help. I have found that studying with a couple friends is helpful. Once it starts more than being 2 or 3 people, then it's too many people. And I can't study with that many people. Then I'll leave. But it is really beneficial to study with peers because sometimes they have some amazing mnemonics or ways to remember things that just blow you out of the water. And then teaching somebody, you learn a lot by being able to teach somebody the material. Sorry, guys, I just got out of the shower, so my hair is kind of. Oh well, it's just gonna stay like that. Oh well. Duro, med school is expensive. I know, man. It is super expensive. Um, that sounds like a good idea. I know a few nurses that actually went to med school after being nurses. I don't know, like it's difficult to say. I guess it just depends on where you apply to med school. Some med schools don't like older applicants, and some med schools only like older applicants. So definitely look at that. Um, I think it. How much is it going to cost you to get that bachelor's of science in nursing, and then how long is it for you gonna? How long are you gonna have to work to save up enough money to pay for med school, and then applying? It's gonna be a rough one. Loved it. How many doctors did you shadow as a pre-med? I definitely recommend quality over quantity. I shadowed at the same clinic for 4 years, like shadowed, volunteered. Um, so I interpreted, I drew blood, I saw patients, I did vitals, I did salidas, which were exit interviews. I did anything the clinic needed me to do. I went every single Wednesday for 4 years. I shadowed like 5 hours every week. And the cool thing about being at the same clinic is it was the same clinic, but the preceptors were different every single week. So I got to work with a bunch of different preceptors, but at the same clinic. So it was It was kind of unique because I got a lot of really good letters of rec. A lot of them were actually professors at the med school, which probably helped me get into med school. And they saw me how I worked and how I worked hard every day. And I didn't care what the clinic needed. If the clinic needed me to take out the trash, that's what I would do. If the attendings wanted me to see patients and come present to them, that's what I would do. So quality over quantity. Fetal surgery. Oh, okay. So neonatal surgery, I can see, Duro. Fetal surgery is what I would not want to do. I would not want to be messing with the amniotic sac and that stuff. No way. Pregnancy is so scary, guys. The more I learn, I'm like, geez, women have it rough. Pregnancy is scary as heck. Pregnancy is crazy. Any tips to help becoming an orthopedic surgeon? Watch Dr. Buck Parker. Just kidding. I think he's like a general surgeon. Orthopedic surgeons, no, not really. Like go into med school, see if it's really what you want to do. You need to make sure you're getting good grades, every single quiz score. Make sure you do really well on step one, and it's just like any other specialty, really. Like, of course, you want to do good in your medical school education so that you can match. I would recommend doing research, Lovda, during your med school in like if you can do it with the ortho residents or something. They're always looking for people to help them do research. So if you could help them do research, I think that would be a really good thing during med school. I have one classmate that I know wants to be an ortho surgeon, and he is always on top of his stuff. He knows he's always one of the best students in class, and he's awesome. He was a scribe, I think, before coming into medical school, so he came with a lot of prior knowledge, and that's where he decided he wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon because he scribed for some ortho surgeons. Oh, no way, Mohammed. I'm not even close. Not even close to memorizing everything. No. The only surgeon I can think of, Duro, is probably like general surgeon. But I don't know if they can do it on everything. I think that's why there's subspecialties. Oh yeah, Antonio Webb MD is a good orthopedic surgeon, Duro. Watch him, Lovda. He like applied to med school like 3 times or something. He was actually also a veteran like you, so I think you should really watch him. Angela, any tips on networking and building connections with professors or physicians? I found it really hard, Angela, in undergrad to connect with my professors. I went to a big university, so I felt like I got drowned out, except my senior year. I did 2 like research project classes with 2 professors, and that's where my letters of rec came from. They were really small classes, like 10 people each. I used a CRISPR-Cas9 to mutate fly DNA in one of them, so I got a letter of rec from that professor. And then I did a whole Spanish professor opened up a class just for me, so I was the only one, and it was like a research project class. And she was my other letter of rec. So it's really hard, I think, for me to give advice on professors unless it's a small class. I guess go to their. I never went to office hours. Go to their office hours. Show up every day. Sit. You don't have to sit up front, but just come prepared to class, answer questions, and they'll notice. And then once they start noticing, if you go to office hours, be like, "Hey, I'm a pre-med. I'm thinking of applying to med school. Would you be willing to? Would you be able to write me a strong letter of rec?" You want to ask it straight. You want to ask it that blunt, because if they write you a cookie cutter letter of rec, it's not gonna look too good, and it's gonna suck. Any med school interview tips, Tammy? Oh, I wanted to make a video on this actually on um, a med school interview tips, like how to explain a lower grade or GPA video. Um, what I would, Tammy, Tammy, my number one recommendation for med school interviews is to talk about patients. Talk about a time you were in clinic, you helped a patient out. Just keep the topic on patients and what you learn, and just they love seeing that you've already interacted with patients. If you have any sort of experience like that, just roll with it. Roll with what you did for them, how you treated them, what you felt. That's basically what all my interviews were. They love hearing how students interacted with patients. That says so much about you when you're in a medical school interview. And then when you talk about it, show excitement, show just this is what you love doing. You love taking care of people, you love seeing them, helping out, taking care of them. That's what I recommend, Tammy. I know two veterans in my class. They went to the military, they're married, they have kiddos, they're older than all of us. Yes, we have a couple veterans in my class. So there's different kinds of research, Mohammed. That is like researching diseases that have no cure. That's kind of like basic science research. There's also research to improve patient care, like in the hospital. There's research like community health to see how you can improve things out in the community. As the community, what they think, there's a lot of like qualitative and quantitative like research you can do. There's a lot of opportunity if you go to a med school that has a lot of research money. My school actually has a lot of research money. Then you can do a lot. You can do research in so many fields. Oh, I love Arizona Robbins Duro. I'm in ASB. I don't know what ASB is, Mariah. What things should I study for? Pre-med, I study for fun. I like learning new stuff. Like I want to help people achieve their natural, beautiful selves. That's a great reason to go into dermatology, Mariah. Plastic surgeons actually help with that a lot. It's not just like breast augmentation and butt implants. They can actually help like burn victims is why I've kind of thought about doing plastic surgery. I think it's awesome that you can help burn victims, like get their skin back, get their face back. It's an incredible field. EMT or scribe? Oh man, that's a tough one. I wasn't either, Kirti. Um, if I could choose between the two, I would be an EMT because you actually get hands-on experience with the patient. But scribes, on the other hand, get to interact with a lot of doctors and see how they work on their day-to-day activity. But I would still pick being an EMT because I like doing things myself, doing things with my hands, getting that adrenaline rush. I would pick EMT, but scribe they probably give pretty equal medical experience. If you can do either, I think they're both really great experiences. I actually wanted to be a vet originally, Duro. When I was 4 years old, one of our horses, she cut her legs. I saw the vet come in this big white truck and fix our horse up. He gave me instructions on like wound care because my parents didn't speak English. And I just remember like putting those gloves on, rubbing the sulfa on the wound, and it was like that was it. I knew I wanted to be a vet. I guess it was medicine. I guess it was medicine, but I want to be a veterinarian, and that didn't change until like sophomore year of high school, or junior year of high school. I got a job as a veterinary assistant, and then we saved a dog, and I'm like, well, it would be pretty cool if I could save a human life, and that's kind of when my light bulb kind of switched, and here I am. It's always been medicine, I guess. My parents said that I would always ask questions that doctors ask, like who, what, when, where, how, like all the time. And they said it was just something that from a little kid. Omer, so my study method changes constantly. I do different things in the same block, different weeks, I do different things. So I really like to write things up on my whiteboard. I like to make sure I remember things from my memory, just go up there how much I can remember, then look back at my notes if I know I'm forgetting something. I love Pathoma. I love Boards and Beyond. I love Sketchy. I like going through the lectures. Anki is good. Osmosis is good. I use so many different like resources. You got to find what works for you. You can't like spread yourself too thin. But I really like the whiteboard method just from my memory. What do I remember about serotonin syndrome? What do I remember about rizatriptan? What do I remember about cluster headaches? And then writing everything down, looking back at my notes, seeing if I missed anything, and then writing it up there, and then basically repeating that for everything. That's how I learn. It goes through my hand up into my brain. That's what I like to think, anyways. And Omer, I skipped lectures the first 2 weeks of this block, and now I've been going to lectures. So I just I just do what I think is gonna help me best, man. How many med schools did you apply to? The first time that I got rejected, I applied to this school that I'm in currently, and I got rejected. The second time I applied to 14 schools, and I got 3 interviews. And then I got into the school I applied the first year, and so I accepted it because this is where I really wanted to go. And yeah. If you can do it in person, Kirti, definitely in person. Um, Professors for a research position. So there was a lot of things like if you know a professor is doing research, do a little bit research on what they're doing, get a little bit familiarized with it, and then go to their office hours and tell them, hey, I saw that you're doing research on sea urchins. I read your paper. I think it's really interesting, and I would really like to be a part of that research if you have room for me. And then he might be like, well, he's like, I don't really have room, and I can't really pay you. And then you can be like, well, like, I really want to help. If you need me to wash flasks at 7 p.m. every night, I will do it. And that's how you start. And then after that, then they'll start giving you more responsibilities. They'll see you're really interested, and that's what I recommend, Kirti. Definitely in person. Oh yeah, Tanya, somebody asked earlier. I majored in biology, minored in chemistry, and double majored in Spanish. But if I could do it all over again, I would not major in that. I would major in computer science or something else that I was interested in, because you get so much biology and chemistry in medical school that's why I wouldn't do it. But I really enjoy the topic, so I kind of regret it, but I'm here in med school, which is where I want to be. But I wish I did have something else that I could like augmented my doctor career in the future. Well, nice, Mariah. Yeah, if you go to a really good high school, that definitely puts you ahead. But don't think that because you went to a really good high school that when you get into college, you're gonna be better than the kids that went to public school. Because, like me, we outworked a lot of those students that thought they were um, the pistachio, and a lot of them didn't get into medical school, and here I am. But a lot of them that did go to those schools and they went into college knowing that they still had to work hard, they did amazing. I didn't apply to any Texas schools, Lovda. They have a different application cycle or different application like portal process, and I didn't want to do it honestly. I used to visit Texas when I was younger, and I hated it. We used to drive for hours and hours in the plains, like in the wide open plains, not plains, but to deliver sheep, and I hated it, so I never applied to any Texas school. But I've heard Texas Tech is a really good school. Um, yeah, Texas Tech sounds awesome. My college had a bowl game against Colorado State there. Oh, nice, Tammy. Um, thanks. I hope you liked it. GPA and MCAT. I think they were raising the MCAT to like a 495, like minimum. Definitely, of course, you want to be over that. The MCAT average for the school is like a 505, I think. So definitely, hold on. I think that's kind of blinding me. At least a 505, and we don't really take out of state applicants. My school doesn't like out of state applicants. They like students from New Mexico that are going to stay in New Mexico and practice in New Mexico. So if you're from out of state, you have to have a really good GPA, really good MCAT, and really good ties to our state to get into this school. It's basically student body. Oh, I see Mariah. Chemistry, Kirti. I minored in chemistry. I wanted to be a biochemistry major, but I fell behind my sophomore year, so I couldn't start the biochemistry track, and that would have put me a whole year behind. So I just decided to stay on a biology and then minor in chemistry. So I got my biochemistry education. I graduated with my 2 bachelors in 4 years, Tanya. But it's, I think, average is like 5 years. So if it takes you a little bit longer, don't rush it. Just make sure you get good grades in the prereqs. I know some people that rushed their undergraduate education and it really affected them because they didn't do well in the prereqs. So definitely focus on doing well in your prereqs. It doesn't matter how long you take. And of course, the MCAT. Dang, y'all have me working tonight. This is probably the most people I've had in a chat, or the most questions and lively chat I've had to date. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to share with your friends. My YouTube channel, I want to grow. My goal is like 750 by the end of the year. 750 subscribers is what I want by the end of the year. We'll see if I meet that goal. You're welcome, Lovda. I'm glad you could come on. I remember you said you had so many questions for me. I'm really glad you were able to make it tonight. I was like, I think this is a good time for a lot of like people around the states. I don't know about around the world, but around the USA. So, no, Tammy, I started YouTubing once I got into medical school. So it was something I told myself, if you get into medical school, you're going to start a YouTube channel. And I got into medical school, so I started a YouTube channel. I'm like wondering if I put it on my residency application. I'm gonna have to reach out to like Jane and JD, America, EJ later and see what they say about putting it on your residency application. But if I have like 100K subscribers by then, of course I put it on, right? Thanks, Matt. Yeah, it's crazy how kind of in November of last year, it kind of just like kind of exploded a little bit, like exploded on my terms. It's been crazy. I'm really thankful. I didn't think I would have. I think I had 250 the last day of like December, and I'm already 100 over that, and it's midway through January. So it's kind of exploded since November, but it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you guys so much. I mean, it's really awkward talking to people here, just random people. But I'm really glad I can help you guys because I struggled to get in my first year, and I just wanted to share that because you don't have to get in your first application cycle. Do you meditate, Maria? I go to church. I try to go to church every Sunday. I actually haven't been in a while because I've been so stressed with neuro that I've just been studying my butt off. I get up at 5 in the morning. I literally study all day on the weekends. I will literally stay sitting in this chair all day. I'll get up to eat. I'll get up to use the restroom and literally like study here all day here between here and the whiteboard. It's ridiculous. Tanya, what extracurricular did you do to stand out? So my 4 years at that clinic, Tanya, really blew my interviewers out of the water. I stayed at the same clinic for 4 years, every single Wednesday. I got a letter of rec from them. A lot of the attendings actually were our school of medicine professors, or they're really involved. And they saw me working every single day. I would do whatever they needed. I would do vitals. I would draw the blood. I would see patients. I would interpret for the residents, for the other med students. Take out the trash, clean the office, whatever the clinic needed. That's what I was there for, and that's how I stood out from others. Angela, any tips on staying calm in high stress situations? I am actually really good at that. I always, if you are stressed out, like in tests for our cadaver lab practicals, it's pretty stressful and people freak out. But I always I'm like, you know this, Aaron. So I walk up to the question, I take a look at it, and just think and answer because you know it. Just stay calm. I'm just a naturally calm person too. I think that's kind of hard to do YouTube videos too because I don't have like this bursty, bubbly personality that a lot of other YouTubers have. I'm more of a stoic, calm person. I don't know. I'm just normally calm, Angela. It's kind of hard. It's hard to get me riled up and get me freaked out. How many hours on average do you study per day? So I got up at 5 a.m. this morning. I studied until I had to go to class at 8. I went to class for 4 hours, so that's 5 to 12. How many hours is that? Already 7 in the morning. Today I didn't study that much because I had to go do some compliance paperwork for a clinic that I'm going to start seeing patients in starting February 4th and on. I have to do 6 half days in a clinic, so I'll definitely vlog those and share a few of those experiences with you guys. But then I got home around 4, and I've been studying since then around 8. I studied till about 8, so that's another 4 hours. And then I did this. So today I've studied so far 11 hours. And I'm probably gonna study maybe till like 11ish today. I mean it's the weekend. I'm gonna have to study as much, but just we'll see how long I stay up tonight. Thanks, Mariah. Really appreciate it. It was kind of awkward my first videos because I didn't get a lot of views, and then all of a sudden I have 350 subscribers. That's crazy. Thank you all so much. Dang, so many questions today. I'm so happy. I'm happy so many of you came on because I've had other ones that there's not a lot of people on. So it's really interactive. I see there's 11 of you on here. Can I get like 5 likes on this video? I have 0 likes right now. Come on, guys. Does it show me the likes or does it show it until afterwards? Oh, I can see them. 4 likes, just boom like that. Y'all are awesome. What do you like about science? Thank you guys so much. That's awesome. what I love about science, Mariah, is that it really explains things that you're it it can explain things when your feelings might be off. You might have a certain feeling about something, but the data doesn't lie, and sometimes that can help you make a better decision, a more informed decision, and it's based off of something that we know is true and not something that we feel is true. And it's really hard for our brains to think like that. We like to go with our feelings, but that's why I like science, because it can really explain things. But I don't know. And you get to explore the human body, find out how cars work, do YouTube. It's awesome. Oh, Angela. Oh, that's a good question. I'm not a big New Year's resolution person, and let me tell you why. So, when I got rejected from medical school that first year, there were a lot of, you feel like a failure, and you're like, oh man, I could have studied better that 1 week in OChem. I could have not gone skiing that one weekend while I was in biochem, right? Uh, but the fact of the matter is, you can't change it. So I have a philosophy that either you shut up about it or you do something about it. And that's all the time. I don't like do New Year's resolutions. Like I do goals, I guess for like this year. Okay, I want to have 750 subscribers by the end of this year. I want to pass my courses, but they're not New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna get them done. Um, and I'm just gonna start working on them right now. I don't wait on I guess it's Friday, I'll just wait until Monday to start exercising. No, I start it right freaking now. That's something I learned when I got rejected. It just kind of changed my mindset. I hated that feeling of failure. It destroyed me. And I'm like, it's not gonna happen again. So it's just go for me. That's a good question, Angela. Thank you. What did you work as in a clinic that you talked in standing out from others? So, Tanya, I got connected with the clinic. I was doing a research project as a sophomore with my mentor, and she knew I wanted to go to medical school. And since she knew I knew how to speak Spanish, she's like, I think you'll be a good fit for this clinic. And the very first day I went, the residents couldn't speak Spanish. The patient population is 99% Hispanic, Spanish speaking. And after talking to the medical director in Spanish, she's like, can you interpret? And I was like, let's do it. So I started interpreting the very first day I started shadowing, and I just kept going back every single day. About a year into that, Tanya, I noticed that we were sending our patients out to get blood draws at the lab, but we had materials in the clinic. And I'm like, well, I worked at a vet clinic for 5 years and I drew blood from dogs, cats, horses while they were moving. It can't be that hard to draw blood from a person when they're staying still. So I did a quick phlebotomy course, and I brought it to the clinic and I started drawing blood for the clinic. Every single Wednesday, the patients would not get charged because they would get sent to the lab and they would get charged them like $5 for a blood draw. So we would do it in-house, and I would save the patient $5. Every single patient that I drew blood from was $5 plus the trip to the lab, and we would spin the blood and the lab started coming picking it up. And then I started, because I was there for so many years, when we were low on staff, the attendees are like, well, you've seen so many med students, so many residents talking to patients, like go interview a patient and then come present to us like the med students do. So I started doing that, and I just fit into the clinic. I was perfect for the clinic. It was my people, and I love taking care of them, and that's what stood out in my, and I'm so glad I did that experience. I'm so glad I had that opportunity. Did you start at community college? I didn't, Loveda. I was fortunate enough to get a full ride scholarship to the university I attended. That GPA video that I made, I talk about when I almost lost the scholarship, when my grades dropped kind of low. But then I recovered, and here I am in med school. So community college is a great way to start if you want like a cheaper education, because the prereqs are the same. A lot of med schools know that going to college is expensive, so you can get those cheaper courses, and then you're probably gonna have to transfer to university to get that 4-year degree. But you can cut your education costs, a lot by going to a community college. And a lot of people think med schools look down on that. I don't think they do. If you have good grades in your prereqs, you do well in the MCAT, if you do good extracurriculars, they don't care where you went. They just want to know you can handle med school curriculum course load, and that you're good with taking care of people. Your favorite motivational quote? Oh man, I don't have a favorite motivational quote, Kirti. Um, oh, I guess what is it? Get up, dress up, and show up. I guess kind of like that. Like just do it. Like you might not want to do it, but just go out there and do it. Thanks, Angela. Yeah, I did not have that mentality for pretty much my whole entire life until I got that rejection. So that's just how I think now. And yeah, nice. Right now it sounds we're learning about electrons and nucleus of cell and other things. Oh, Mariah, you're gonna learn so much more once you start going to college, and then in med school, I feel like you learn more details in undergraduate about those things, but in med school you learn what matters, what's important, and how to think about it. So no, so Kirti, what I do to get up at 5:30 at 5, so I put my phone not next to me where I'm sleeping. I put it like far away. I put it on the charger far away. So when the alarm gets up, I have to get up. But before I get up, I turn on the light. So turn on the light as soon as you hear the alarm, and then go get up and get your phone, and you're already up. The light is on. Your brain's activated, and that's what helps me get up at 5. Um, that's how I do it. Just like turning on the light. For me, the light is what wakes me up in the morning. So if I turn on the light, it'll wake me up. I'll try to do more day in the life, love dot. It's really awkward. I'm so bad at videotaping in front of other people. It's so hard for me. I can't get used to it. I'm pretty sure I'll get better at it. And this last one I made was really awesome. I really enjoyed doing that for you guys. So I'll try to do it. It kind of sucks right now because I'm just going to class every day. But like second year, third year, fourth year, once I start going in a clinic more, then it'll be a lot more fun, and I can show you guys more things. And then maybe like once I do start continuity clinic, I'll do more day in the life. And this summer, I'm gonna be sent off to Indian Health Service hospital. They're gonna provide housing, and I'm gonna be seeing patients every single day for 6 weeks. So I'll definitely take my camera there, and you guys can see that. Danielle, did you have research? I did, Danielle. So I did research. I interviewed developmentally disabled adults and their families, and how their healthcare experiences were when they showed up to the ER, which is where most of them show up, the ER, in their family med clinics and specialty clinics, and just the barriers that they encountered while trying to receive healthcare. That was my research before I started, before I got into medical school. You have to retake any classes if you didn't pass a class. So I didn't retake any classes, Tanya, even though I did get C's in some. Okay. So I'm gonna share this. I mean, it's 54 minutes in. I'm sure a lot of people aren't gonna watch this. But I'm gonna make a video on this. So if you got a C in a class, hopefully it wasn't like in your senior year, your junior senior year, you really want to get really good grades in undergraduate. That way you can show that if you got a C early on in college, you can see that you improved, and you were at C sophomore year, but now you're at A senior year. And that's what I explained in my interview. I told them, I was like, look, my sophomore year, I had a really difficult time with school. I started calculus, chemistry, biology. I wasn't prepared for the workload. It really kicked my butt. But I do want you to look at this past senior year. I took 3 upper level science courses. I got A's in every single one. I took 2 upper level Spanish courses. I got A's in all of them. And I want you to know that I am prepared to handle this medical school coursework. And that's what I did. I didn't retake any classes. So the phlebotomy course, it wasn't a 12-week program, Angela. So it was a 2-day program. It's not recognized by a lot of laboratories, but the clinic accepted my 2-day phlebotomy course. And then I had so many years drawing blood experience that when I started working in the lab in the hospital, they accepted my experience. They didn't accept my certification, they accepted my experience. So that's kind of how my situation worked out. Okay, I got a C in a class and I'm considering retaking it. I actually had a comment with, I think his name was Sir J in like my GPA video or grades video. Some schools will take the average. If you got a C and then you got an A, that'll average into a B. Some schools take that into account. They won't count it as an A the second time, like they'll count it as a B. So I'm not sure, depending on what schools you want to apply to, make sure you look at the requirements and what they think of students retaking courses, and just make sure you know what schools you want to apply to, and look at what they think of retaking classes. Hi Amanda, how is Neuroblock going? Neuroblock is kicking my butt. What's the most difficult and the most interesting part of the block? So Neuro is actually kind of conceptually hard. It's the first block that I feel is conceptually hard, plus the added just volume, like I said earlier. It's conceptually hard and it's a lot of material. Neuro is, all of it is super interesting though. It is crazy how our brains work. It's amazing. All of it is really interesting. I really enjoyed learning just all the nerves in the brain and how they work. Like, it's incredible. It's all interesting, Amanda. It's just a lot of information and it's kind of conceptually hard for me personally. So it's been difficult. It's been a rough start. Do you know people who have failed med school? I don't know. So once you get into medical school, Lovda, your school really wants you to succeed. They're investing so much money, like professors' time into you. They want you to be successful. They will work with you. They will get you, what is it? They'll get you mentors. They'll get you people to help you with your study methods. And they really want you to succeed because they're putting a lot of effort, resources, time. They're investing a lot in you. I I don't personally know. I don't personally know of people that have failed med school, but I have heard of people that have failed med school. But I don't know. How did you prepare to take the MCAT? So Tanya, I prepared. I just made an MCAT video recently, actually, on what I would recommend for you guys to prepare to take the MCAT. I was scatterbrained. I used Kaplan. I used Princeton Review. I used random practice questions. If I could do it all over again, I would start with an AMC diagnostic test, see what you're weak in, study that using Khan Academy, and just other online resources that are free, and then getting like the section test from AAMC, taking that in your weak area. Hopefully you improved. But reviewing your test, your section tests, is the most critical part of studying for the MCAT. You guys, I stress this in the other video. You guys have to review every single question if you guys take a practice test, because it shows how you were. If you answered it correctly, you need to make sure you were thinking about it appropriately. If you got it wrong, then you need to switch your thinking to get it right the next time. That is the most important part of studying for the MCAT, is question by question reviewing those practice tests and section banks. Tammy, oh man, is it normal to feel good after your MCAT? You are a freak if you feel normal. I felt awful. So I actually had a rodeo the afternoon after I took the MCAT. So I took the MCAT and I went straight to the rodeo, right? I got on my horse and I was literally dizzy. I had to get off my horse. I couldn't compete that day because I was literally dizzy from the MCAT. You're crazy. You're crazy, my friend. When do you take step one? Next year, a year from now, I'll be studying for step one, Lavda. I'll be studying a lot. Jose Valdez. I'm currently going to school for my RN. I want to go for an MP. Do you think it's better to go for? So, do you want to be an NP or do you want to be an MD? Like, that's basically the question. Do you want to be a doctor or a nurse practitioner? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Would you rather be in like responsible 100% for your patients, or would you like to have a little bit less responsibility? But NPs are going to pretty much have the same, depending on the state you are. Some of them are getting really good, how can I say, like a good scope of practice, so they're able to do a lot more in certain states. I know in my state, because we're so short on primary care physicians, that NPs are really fitting really well in that role. So it's ultimately, do you want to be an MD or do you want to be an NP? I respect nurses so much. Nurses are incredible. Without nurses, our healthcare system would collapse. I took the MCAT the summer between my junior and senior year, Tanya. I didn't do so well in it. I applied to med school, I got rejected, and then I retook it the following summer, got a better score, got into med school. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I was literally only going to do 30 minutes of this, and it's been a little over an hour. I really need to get back to studying. Thank you guys so much, so much for being here. Share with your friends my YouTube channel, please. Sorry, Lauren, did you have a question? You can answer. You can ask a question real quick. I don't think you asked me a question earlier, before I leave. And thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you all so much for commenting, liking all my videos, and being here tonight. So, we'll see if Lauren. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes until 1:05. Any last minute questions that are burning your soul? 2 minutes left. All right, Lauren. Next time, thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you guys. Oh, thanks, Jose. Thank you so much for subscribing. Share with your friends, and there'll be a new video up hopefully soon. Thank you guys so much. I just don't have any other words for you guys, anything else to say, and I'll see you guys. Bye.